James. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Rhodes.
Here.
Simmons. Here.
We could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark the agenda. Any changes or additions?
Mayor, we have one change that is 10D is no longer on the agenda. I'm working with Paula on some paperwork issues that have arisen, and we hope to have that back on for the 18th. Brad had done some alterations on 10D and 10F2, and those are at your table. And as you were just asking me prior to the meeting, there's a draft resolution that's available to the commission per request if you want to take it up. It's not an agenda item regarding a text amendment to the zoning ordinance. So those are the changes or things that are different between what was printed or what was in your packet.
Who requested the resolution 24?
Commissioner James.
And I have reasons.
Then we have two sets of minutes from October 7th and October 21st before you. Do I have a motion for approval of those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Questions regarding those minutes? Anyone? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed the same. Motion carries. There are no special orders today. There is a study session today and she's ready to go. Lauren,
Hello,
who runs our
everyone.
library, is here today.
Yes, I'm the librarian at the Big Rapids Community Library, and I have a few lovely statistics to share with you about fiscal year 23-24 and some of the initiatives we've been working on for the past year and a half. Some of the things that I'd like to highlight is finally our patron count is up 15.8% over last year, so that's exciting, about 2,600 more people than we had the year before. We can pinpoint one of those times here. If you look at April, that was the solar eclipse. And we had solar eclipse glasses. So we had 1,000 people come in to get solar eclipse glasses, which is great. I can't see anything. Hold on. We had over 50,000 items checked out over the course of 23-24. I can't see anything because I'm blind. Hold on 1 second. There we go. About 7,424 people attended our library programs, and beyond just our regular library programs like Storytime and science STEM programs, we also have scavenger hunts at the library, which we have a ton of kids coming in every month to do the scavenger hunt because they get a little treat. So we had over 4,043 participants in over 93 passive programs at the library. So total, we had about 11,000 people participating in our library programs, which is great. 4,119 computer sessions in our public access terminals. We have 16 computers in the library. And 950 new library cards were made. 867 were renewed. So that was the summary of last year. This is our most recent report for October. So we are still up in the patron count about 11%, or 3,000 more people than were here last year. So that is a good increase. We had a summer reading program last year, and we had a 409 registrants, 25.8% increase over last year's 325. And what we're measuring now is not so much how many people sign up, but how many people complete the program. One of the differences this year was you had to complete like June, July, and August to complete the whole program. A lot of people sign up and then they never come back. So this was an incentive to keep them coming back in. Some of the initiatives and grants. Little inch down here. Last summer, we started Feeding America West Michigan. We had summer lunches at the library, Monday through Friday. That was a 10-week program. And the total amount of people that were in that program, 1,463 meals were served, in addition to all of the other programs around the county and city. We also have our Tony boxes. We had Vox books, which are talking books. You just press a button and they will speak and read the book to you. Those were donated by the Library of Michigan and the Institute of Museum and Library Services. We also got the database of Creative Bug, so we've been doing arts and crafts programs using Creative Bug. You can go online, register with your library card, and it's thousands of classes for arts and crafts that you can see the videos, and they give you the list of all of the material that you'll need. We also have science adventure kits. So those we got a grant from our co-op. They're like clear bags that you can check out from the library, and the topics are observing pollinators, architecture, and solar systems. If you look in the center here, we rebranded the library logo. That's our new logo. I got a grant for $1,500-ish to attend University of Georgia's Carl Vinson Institute of Government for library financial management. That was fun. It wasn't. But I did it. We also received a $10,000 grant from the ALA, American Library Association, and that is an Accessible Small and Rural Communities grant. So we did get 30 Kindles that we are going to be taking to local assisted living facilities. And we're going to be doing book clubs, teaching them how to use them so that they can get the remote services like Libby, Canopy, and Transparent Language on their own time and not have to come into the library. What else do we have here? Thinking Money for Kids is another grant that we received right here. And Amanda has the Launchpad. We got 5 Launchpad Playaway tablets. They're preloaded with financial literacy games for ages 5 and up. The best one is the farm one. You just have to play it and you'll understand. We were lucky to have the Friends of the Library support our purchase of a RFID self-check system, so that is now in the works. It's done. We have a soft opening. We're still working out some things, but you can come in with your library card, scan it, put your books down on a pad, and they will go check them all out to you, and you can be on your way. So we also had one of our staff members, Desiree Rowe. She was certified in Yoga Palooza, so she can teach children's yoga. So we've been having those programs. In March 2024, we had our seed library open up again, and Bevan Cohen, he has written many books on seed saving and making herbal tinctures and things like that, came in for a few programs. We supplied state, federal, and local tax forms. April of 2024, we handed out over 150 red oak seedlings. That is with the Neighborhood Forest program. That was all free to us. Most of these things have been free programs that we've taken advantage of. I also applied for the Children's Book Council, and that is a program where they rate books from publishers. They get teachers, librarians, and children to rate the books, and then they make favorites lists and send them out nationally. So we were chosen to be the 6th through 8th grade coordinators for that, and they sent us over 300 new books for the 6th through 8th grade age range, so that was really exciting. If you have any 6th through 8th graders, we'd love for them to come in and check those out and review them. It's easy, it's just, I liked it, I hated it, it was I would like to thank Dave Hamlin of Hamtech because his staff made our new story walk signs and posts, and they're beautiful and much better than the ones that were rotting away. We also received 9 Medify air purifiers from MDHHS. It's part of their program to mitigate respiratory illnesses. We also have a bunch of COVID tests, but if you need some, this was our last shipment from them. As far as I know, we don't know if they're going to be giving us any more. But we got 9 air purifiers with enough filters to last for 2 years at no cost to the library. That's what we've been up to.
You forgot ukuleles.
And ukuleles. But you're supposed to hold it up.
No, you're supposed
So
to.
you can, you can check out, we have 3 ukuleles, red, blue, and yellow. You can check them out, and it comes with a primer and a tuner, and you can teach yourself. It also has access to YouTube videos and things like that. There's more stuff. Do you guys want to hear more? Oh, there's one last thing I wanted to say. Sarah applied for a magnetometer, and I don't understand what it even is, but we're getting one, from NASA and Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. So they're going to send us one. That's that citizen science picture up there. They're going to send us one, and we're going to measure the magnetic, I don't know, auras in the atmosphere. We're gonna figure it out, and then we're gonna do it for real. I don't know what it really is. Also, I would like to point out that our friends of the library work with Corewell Health and give board books to all of the babies that are born there. It's called Catch 'em in the Cradle. We did start the propagation station, so if anybody's interested in coming in and getting a house plant, you can come in and snag one of those. We have programs coming up like Candy DNA, that's with Ferris. They're gonna make DNA structures probably with Twizzlers and stuff like that. And I just wanna show you some pictures of some of the programs that we've had. That was John Ball Zoo coming in to teach us about turtles. That was the Sloan Discovery Center doing a pirate program. They made slime. That's obviously science of some kind. Art. So we have a bunch of different programs going on at the library. Do you guys have any questions?
Anyone, public or?
Mayor,
Yes,
I have a
please.
question. Lauren, do the Friends of the Library still solicit donations?
Absolutely.
Do they have an annual mailing list? Cause I think somehow I got dropped off.
They are going through a little transitional phase right now, and they are starting to regroup and reorganize, and you will be hearing from them shortly.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very good. Others?
I just want to say thank you for everything you do to keep reinvigorating our library services for the community.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Lauren.
you.
You always have the best props and show and tell.
Next on the agenda is public comment not related to any item on the agenda. Unrelated to any item on the agenda, please. Please. Your name and location.
Lisa Moore, 602 Oak Street. I've been getting some mailings from Lansing and some mailings for Washington DC, and are there anything in the future where they're thinking about making Big Rapids a sanctuary city? Do we need talk out there trying to push that agenda in this area.
I have heard none. Mark, have you got anything?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Haven't heard any. Thank you. Others? Please.
I'm Jeff Petacola, back again to try to show you the errors of your ways on the ocean support that you have voted on before. I had a couple of flyers that they mailed out to Green Township that I'm gonna leave here. You can read. This is all factual information, and it's some of the court case discovery. 30 things have gone on in the background. And so you can study them and read them if you want to, or ignore it, but just remember, come January, you guys will be the only ones that I know of in the county that will still be supporting the project, and everybody else that bid is gone mostly, so you might, if you like your positions, you might wanna check into it a little bit more. Things are happening. Thank you.
Others? We'll move to general business. There is no public hearing today. The first general business is, did they come today? The cat, there they are.
Bright yellow.
The group is looking to have a raffle. Anybody wanna speak for that group?
We are TNR, Macassa, Trap, Neuter, Return. We trap feral cats, turn them into veterinarians who participate with the group, have them neutered and return them to their colonies. A new nonprofit in the county, and because of that, we are not able to get a raffle license without being recognized by the board as a nonprofit organization here in the county. So as we were applying for a raffle license, we had a document that needed to be approved by the board tonight, and that's what we're here asking for.
Thank you. And thank you for doing, didn't they just do all the cats behind the restaurant?
16 of them over there.
How many?
16 at the Chinese
I
restaurant.
counted 70 once when I was driving back there. There were a lot of cats behind there.
We're always going to be in business. Our work is never done. But yeah.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the raffle for the trap, neuter, and release?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Other comments? Anyone? Anyone? Board?
I just want to make one comment. Thank you for what you're doing. As a cat owner, I appreciate the fact that you're helping keep the community safe and the animals safe too.
You do it.
Karen?
James,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gunther.
Yes. Thank you for doing what you do. Appreciate it. The 10B is off the agenda for today. We're now to 10C, which is Kelly Wasik and her Macassa County Development Corporation. We failed to pay them for 24 at all. And upon reviewing the finances through our, I don't see, oh, there's Carla. Carla said, no, you didn't get around to paying, so today's discussion will be to authorize paying for 24, not 25. That decision has not been made yet, but we thought it was a perfect time for Kelly to come in and update everyone on MCDC. Kelly?
I didn't bring a PowerPoint, but I believe
With
everybody's
a
got.
huge one in here, yeah.
Yeah, you got the copy of the report, so I don't know if you want me to go line by line or how you.
Just summarize for us.
So to summarize, it's been a busy year. One of my, I guess I'll start, my biggest success this year was, so in the state of Michigan, or Mid-America Economic Development Council covers 13 states. And there's 2 representatives from each state that get nominated to that board. And I was selected as one of the representatives for the state of Michigan. The other representative is out of GMED. She's the Greater Muskegon Economic Development Council member. And we're the 2 reps for the state of Michigan that sit on this 13-state board that makes up 6% of the world's economic impact when you combine us all together. And so I was appointed to that board in May, and I've gone to a couple conferences, and we have one actually in December in Columbus, Ohio, that I'll be going to. It's a competitiveness conference. One of my coworkers from the Right Place will be speaking at it on workforce and talent coming to the state of Michigan. And speaking on this board, I was able to secure 2026 for the, them to hold one of the conferences here in the state of Michigan in Grand Rapids to bring site selectors and everybody to come to the state of Michigan in 2026 from these 13 states. So super excited about that, getting awareness of our state and what we have going on. And then moving down, the city of Big Rapids. These are just a couple of the things that I've been either involved with or helped make that first networking connection with Michelle's, and I have a great working relationship, I think, to partner on. So if someone calls me and they're looking for business or property or anything like that, my first step is getting with Michelle and figuring out what exactly their needs are and if the city can meet those and seeing what the process could be for them. So the Sweet Hill Riverfront, we met with Mishta with that project. The AMC Theater we've been talking through together. Developer Day was a huge success for not only MCDC, but I think the city as well, and Michelle was a huge partner in that. Mecosta County Mayor's Conference, the CVB sponsored that, and I heard that was a great success from actually other mayors that came up to me at a different conference like a week later, and so was great to help represent City of Big Rapids and hear that great feedback on that. The DBA board, I worked with Josh and Michelle on the social district, getting that to fruition. And then the Handship property, lots of interest in the Handship property, lots of developers coming to look at that property, and we made that a highlight on the Developer Day tour to make sure that we stopped at that location, got off the bus, and actually spoke about that corridor right there with the river and the skate park and everything, just getting a vision of what that could be one day. So then moving down, one of the highlights, the Workforce Development Summit. I was part of that planning committee for Ferris State in April, and I know Mark and Mayor, you were able to attend that, and I think one of the highlights out of that is you partnered with Hello West Michigan, which is housed in the right place, but what a great connection. That's just what it's all about, on making those collaborative efforts and getting the services known, what's available to you. And then moving on to some of the property projects in my pipeline, the attraction is really big right now. We all kind of saw this coming out of COVID, but destination making, using your natural resources, recreation efforts. So a couple of the projects just here, Save the Ponds Committee for Paris Fish Hatchery. I sit on that committee, and I was able to help secure the Fremont Area Community Foundation as the fiscal sponsor. MCDC is used as the nonprofit, so we're able to now collect investment and donations to help beautify and bring back Paris Fish Hatchery ponds. Mecosta MX, if you haven't heard about that, that's the newest and greatest D14 dirt bike track. They just started doing races in September, but they opened in June. That's going to be a huge asset for the city of Big Rapids. I met with the owner many times. We made a QR code, it's on everything there, and when they scan it, we're getting all the demographics of where they're going, how long they're staying here, where they're from, age, and many of them are staying in the city of Big Rapids to shop, go to the hotels, so we're capturing that data so we know that even though it's out there, it is benefiting the city of Big Rapids in our area. The Children's Museum, that is still in efforts. We have a small but mighty board, and we're going after a couple grants right now to see if we can bring either a like a walk-up to type of museum or an actual brick and mortar type museum. We're not sure what that looks like, but depending on the grant funding, we'll see what happens with that. But we're still truly pursuing some type of museum for children in the city of Big Rapids. And then, Office of Outdoor Recreation at MEDC, Brad Garman. He's the director for that. He actually announced at the MEDA conference in August that he's creating a rural asset mapping tool, which is stemmed off of like that recreation. So us economic developers in our region, our counties are working on what are our assets in our county. So we're each kind of getting a list going, and we're giving this to the state to say these are our great assets. These are our trail systems, whether it's water, biking, hiking, snowmobiling, you name it. We're trying to make, the state is looking to make a regional asset mapping of these great things. And yes, you can go to Pure Michigan and see here's the trails and here's this, but we want to make it our own. So with the state's help, how can we really act on and market those great natural resources for tourism and things like that in our area? So that's with attraction, retention. I'm working with a local business on building out in the industrial park at their location. More to come on that. I don't have a lot of information on that, but baby stages. And then an expansion project with one of the local manufacturers in the industrial park, adding 2 new lines, and they're able to add to their first and third shifts. So we'll see an increase in some hiring in one of the industrial manufacturers. So that's exciting. Moving down to committees I'm on, a couple of them. The statewide housing plan, that was an effort from MISTA. The state of Michigan is the first state to do this type of regional plan out of all of the states. We just had a meeting last week, and so we just kind of finished up what MISTA was looking for. It included 13 counties in our area. Michelle and I are the co-chairs sitting on the education and communication committee for that group. And now the next step is regional housing partnerships and the corridor strategies on how within our region, what are those corridors with the housing that we really want to focus in on and see where that capacity building could take place. So very new stages of MISTA. We just got that information last week. I don't know if they exactly know what direction they're going, but we're part of that conversation. So, and then Mecosta County Visitors Bureau, we submitted our marketing plan to the state for 2025. The Mayor's Conference, again, great success. We attempted the July 4th fireworks and did our best with that. And then again, the asset mapping, so really trying to focus the Dragon Trail, the White Pine Trail, Muskegon River, those things for us. And then moving down to Vibrant Futures, that's the Coalition to Expand Childcare in the western region of the state. In that is Kent, Mecosta, Montcalm, Berry, and Ionia counties. There was a grant to support that. That just wrapped up as well. They had 53 roster of parents, providers, and early childhood and employers, government municipalities that took a survey, and they got over 900 responses in that. And so the next step is they were able to get funding for a second part of next efforts on an action plan, whatever that will look like with the data that they've been able to collect. So I'm part of that conversation as well. And then moving forward, I just wanted to put, I put C attachment, but I didn't put it in the packet, but our 3-year strategic plan is still the same. We've got 1 more year into that. So objective 1, improve infrastructure to spur economic development. Objective 2, bolster housing options across the economic spectrum. Objective 3 is expand support for efforts promoting tourism. Objective 4, increase opportunities for collaboration with Ferris State. Objective 5 is facilitate collaboration and partnerships between various community organizations and municipal leaders in Mecosta County. And then 2025, with that workforce summit that was put on in April of this year, meeting with Dr. Thompson at Ferris and a couple others that were on the planning committee, the feedback we got from a lot of the manufacturers, Great Lakes Energy and Consumers are 2 of them, the utilities, which is huge for our region, looking at those next steps on criteria to do training programs with FSU, Mecosta Intermediate School District, those types of things to create these certification programs that we talked about, not just for credit at Ferris, but getting an actual, if they want to upskill a worker, they can do a paid certification for that. Kind of dive into what skill sets they're looking for. So the first one was kind of what are employers looking for, what are municipalities needing out of employees. Now we're going to what do the employers need, specifically skill sets, so we could kind of hone in on those. So more to come on that, more industry focus for those. And then again, the asset mapping, the destination making. Let's see, I've been at this position since April of 2022. This beginning of this year, the Right Place covers 8 counties, and all of us were under the Business Development Prosperity Hub, which is more, I do the retention visits, I'm going into these businesses, I'm trying to get workforce, I'm trying to retain talent. But what we found is in these rural communities, we don't have the capacity like they do in Kent County to go visit 50 to 100 manufacturers. I might have 12 or so. So they shifted us from under the Prosperity Hub to under the Placemaking Hub. So with that, we're able to dive into and get the knowledge of a lot more grant opportunities for our municipalities and building up again on those MDAR grants, USDA grants, EDA grants, things like that to help with infrastructure and housing and the child care centers and the parks and all these things, because we know that people aren't necessarily looking for the job and then finding the house. They're looking for the quality of life and where they want to live, and then they find the job to go with it once they find where they want to live and raise their kids. So it's kind of a shift that we're in right now. So I kind of shifted under that hub. So that's why you'll see a lot of destination making, tourism, placemaking, community support this year on top of the retention visits that I provide. And I don't have the retention visits or the assist that I created so far this year because I usually do that in January. So I'll have the final report in January for you guys.
Kelly, how is the Dragon Trail doing numbers wise?
The what? I'm sorry.
Dragon Trail?
Oh, so out of the Dragon Trail, there's 4 of us that have, so there's 4 infrared markers along the Dragon Trail, and I'm one of the 4 that have access to those numbers. I don't have them right on top of me, but before the Dragon opened, they saw 80,000 visitors so far in 2024. And that was before it was completed, and the ribbon cutting was in September. And they're expecting to see 100,000 attendees to the trail by the end of the year. And before it was completed, they were looking at a 2.4 million economic impact, and with its completion, they're looking at that to double to a 4 million economic impact. With the amount of people we've seen, they're coming from all across the country. It is the best hidden gem right now in the mountain biking industry in the Midwest.
Super.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Very exciting.
Questions for Kelly? Board?
I have
Yes,
a
please.
couple. Do you think Ferris will do another workforce development summit in 2025?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Dr. Thompson and I, Dr. Pink's very supportive of that. It's just been kind of put on hold and other things have kind of come in forward, but definitely something that the employers and Gary Woodlowski's group, we work really close together, and it's what we're hearing that they'd like to see what could that next step look like.
Any conference or development type thing we could do that becomes an annual thing,
Yes.
just continues to build. You know, Mayor, I doubt you'll get the mayor's conference again
No, I will not.
next year.
No.
We probably won't
Maybe
ask
never
for
again.
it.
They
but-
love your chimney birds or chimney sweeping. That's what I heard
The
about.
chimney
was the
sweeps
chimney.
is usually
Yeah.
That was the
good.
hit.
That was the hit of it. Thank you so much for all the work you do. It's always nice to have you come and talk to us and tell us about all your work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yep. Thank you.
Mayor, I just have a quick clarification. You're on a calendar year, correct? Fiscal year,
Yes,
calendar year?
yep.
Okay. Carla, so I'm assuming this is budgeted in
It's budgeted.
24-25. It just wasn't requested when the year rolled over in July,
Yep.
correct? All right, just wanted to
That was
clarify
the-
it.
That was the issue, but it took some searching,
Oh,
right, Carla?
Not sure.
I usually present in December, and I think it throws off to know if we're doing that for that current year or it's going to the next year. And I think that threw off the cycle of the funding.
well, the best thing for you to do is to invoice the city in July when their fiscal year turns over. And then that gives her the opportunity to see that it's taken care of.
Sounds good.
So do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
The motion is to pay our back dues for 24. Has nothing to do with 25. That'll be another issue to discuss among the commissioners. We have a motion and a second. Did you get that?
Lorraine motioned, I seconded.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's what I was gonna ask, I didn't hear the second.
All set, Karen?
I am, thank you.
Can you call the roll call, please?
Sure. Johnson,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Simmon,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
At some point between now and spring, we need to have a work session on MCDC in the future. Right?
I will make it happen, Mayor.
Next is a traffic control resolution. Mark?
Sure, I'll start us off, Mayor. Chief Haynes did some great analysis and work on trying to simplify our downtown parking system. It's been convoluted the 20 years I've been involved with it, and we had, I don't know, maybe 8, 10, 12 different categories of parking within our parking lots and on the street downtown. That's what we've had previously, and you'll see in your packet lists of different traffic orders that put those in place. Chief Haynes worked with the downtown business owners, looking for a more simpler, more easy to understand way to deliver traffic enforcement to the downtown. We used to have, for example, if you go back 20 years, we had parking meters. We take out parking meters, we put in 2-hour parking. 2-hour parking, the thought is that there's a rollover in front of the businesses. Well, what it doesn't do very well is somebody who wants to, maybe get a bite to eat and then shop, or maybe they want one of our many service businesses that are downtown, the dentist, the chiropractor, those type of places, and then do something else. So we ran into some conflicts. One of the ideas under these changes are, it's just all-day parking on the street. Now, does that get us the turnover for our retail places? What we found is we really don't have a problem. This was done as a temporary basis, now is in front of you as a permanent basis, but I haven't had the complaints. Chief, maybe you'd like to speak about, some of the things you've encountered as we've tried this on a temporary basis.
Yeah, we haven't received any parking complaints in the downtown area. Actually, even in looking at data prior to doing the temporary, we had only received one parking complaint called in. So any other parking tickets that were issued were really based on what our service officer was doing activity-wise, cars that were obviously parked on the wrong side of the street and that type of thing. So, no complaints regarding that.
And so this resolution clears it up and is exactly as you wish.
I would go with the map as the easiest way
with the map.
to explain and understand
And
it.
there were like 14 resolutions for Kevin Courtney to sign in there.
Right.
It's just the thoroughness of the city staff, Mayor.
Oh, I see. So,
I would like to make a statement though. In my first year being appointed as a commissioner, I had multiple citizens come and approach me about their negative impact received from getting services from our businesses and then getting a ticket or a citation because it had rolled over the allotted time downtown. So I think that the people who spend their money downtown will very much appreciate the fact that we're gonna change it to all-day parking.
and it has been for, how long have we been on that now?
Yep.
End of May, I think, is when we.
But officially, you know what I mean, to make that official. So,
Thank you. Others? Parking issues?
And you talked to the downtown business
Where is he here?
folks?
Josh did some talking with the different.
Oh, there's Josh back there. Anything, Josh, from the businesses?
No concerns about residents parking there all day or anything like that?
We're okay, huh?
Perfect.
Very good. A resolution. This is a long resolution, Mark. This is the, traffic control order 588, and it rescinds all those old traffic control things, brings in the new. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
So,
second.
There's a motion and a second. Questions?
we just wanna make sure the language that we wanna use is the one on our desk.
I had Brad rewrite it because I didn't get it on the first go-round. You good, Brad?
I'm good, yeah, the changes on your desk was just to clean up some of that introductory whereas clause and to change the statutory site.
You let all the lawyers speak.
Mm-hmm.
All the lawyers.
I didn't write the title of the resolution.
Yeah, the title's a bit wordy. Probably Danny wrote that, the chief wrote that title. Anything else, Karen? Anything anyone has?
No.
We could do a roll call on that.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Simmon,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes,
James,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
I'm glad that's over with. Next is the resolution. As everyone probably knows, we have a septic field out at North End Park. We just don't have water yet because we are having trouble getting a well drilled. And you wanna take it from there, or does Heather wanna take it from there? Mark wants to?
I'll take a run at it, Mayor. Yeah, you introduced it well. We're putting in restrooms out there that are not on municipal sewer and water. And so we were able to put in set the tanks and put in the drain field on our own, and but we can't drill the well. And so we went out to bid to solicit bids for well drilling. And what we come to find out is well drillers are not adept at dealing with municipal bids, right? Because most municipal projects are municipal water, right? They don't go out for wells. And we didn't get any bids. But we were able to get some quotes that are in your packet and some that aren't in there. We had multiple quotes. The low one that we have is from North Kent Well and Pump, out of Cedar Springs, $8,025. Brad has prepared a resolution that allows the commission to move forward if you're comfortable with hiring North Kent, without the formal bid process. So, Mayor, if you would like more on that, I would ask Brad maybe to explain, but, I think we're in a good position. I think this is a reasonable cost and we'll get the water well in at the park that we need.
Did they say when? Oh, Heather just walked.
I didn't hear, I don't know the when, I think it's this fall.
fall, yeah?
Yeah.
Questions? Then do I hear a motion to, hire that company to put down a water well?
So moved. Second.
The second. Questions? Hearing none, please, Karen.
Simmon,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Interesting though, right near there is where the skate park's going in. It's fun to see it right now. It's been excavated, so you can see it without concrete and stuff. It's kind of interesting to look at. Gerber is doing that one for us. Next, a group, I guess, of city leaders decided it was time to do something with the old jail. We had an open meeting with excellent attendance and toured the old jail, looked at all the problems that we could see. And we then appointed a committee of citizens we're calling it the Old Jail Committee, to work with the people, Ann Hoganson, who lives there, and the others who are closely involved. And one of the things they requested, which Mark had already talked to Michelle about, was getting the National Historic Preservation, what is it called?
Yeah, the National Registry of Historic Places. There's only 2 buildings in the county, the Nisbet and Fairman buildings, that are on those. This would potentially be a third, and it opens us up, or the owner, whoever that may be in sometime in the future, to various incentives that go along with being on that national registry.
Huge difference to have that status, but it costs money. That's why it's here as a resolution. When we first started talking about this, Michelle, did you find that historic expert? She came up and did a.
We reached out to her from a builder we had talked to, and she is Jessica Flores with Preservation Forward. And she used to work for the state for their historic preservation, the Michigan state government, and has since started a private practice and works towards getting buildings, being a contractor to get buildings on the historic preservation.
And so she is going to help us get that designation with her expertise. Are there questions about that? Hearing none, seeing none. Is there a resolution to contract with this company to help us achieve the historic designation on the old jail?
So moved.
Second.
Further questions?
I was just wondering where we were funding from. That's.
We transferred money out of our IT department and created I think Carla created an old jail account or old jail fund.
Oh, you did create an old jail account? Is
Yeah.
that what the 101
Yeah.
is?
The 101 is city commission.
That's
and
what I
then
thought.
Yes.
And then 880
Is
is
the
historic
discretionary,
preservation.
yeah, and then the 015 on the end is the.
Okay, so the line
there's
item
a
is.
new one.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Thank you.
And then tomorrow, a Grand Rapids builder who does historic preservation mostly on Heritage Hill is gonna take a look at the list of things the expert said we need and give us some idea of
Some ballpark numbers for
what
us.
that would involve to know if we're even able to even think about the whole thing, right?
Correct.
Grand River
Builders.
Restoration or something?
Grand River Builders.
Builders.
They're not bidding on the job, there's no bids going out, we're just gonna get an idea, what the heck? We may just say, All right, did we move that one yet, David?
Yes.
Any further questions? Anything, please?
James.
Yes.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Sumner.
Yes. Next on the agenda is a resolution regarding a request for home occupation of a dog grooming business at 507 Winter. That was referred to us from the planning commission. And I'm gonna open this one up early on after the commissioners have their chance to say it, and because I think we'll have some comment tonight on this. Questions?
I
Sure.
address this one?
Yeah.
Well, first I need to disclose that, of course, I live in an R1 and I have an in-home office zoning variance and have had one for 13 years. Prior to that, I lived in RP where I didn't need one. I did some research on this because I got hung up on the fact that a detached garage is an accessory building. I happen to be married to a builder, so I started with him and asked his opinion. He looked at me and thought I was crazy. It's not an accessory building. I checked my insurance. My insurance covers my dwelling as my home and my attached garage as one unit. It is not broken out. We do have an accessory building, which is a garage that sits further back in the property. And then I have a list of builders that are that are clients, and I was gonna call them, and I said, no, this isn't really my work to do. So I met with Mark Gifford this morning and had an opportunity to also talk with our attorney and thought that maybe what should happen, and that's what prompted this resolution that's in front of the mayor, is that I would like to see it to go back to the planning commission, right? Planning commission? Yes. And look at our zoning ordinance, which I think is outdated. I don't know how many years ago that was put together. I can't even answer who did it. So I don't know the answer to those questions. But that's where that stemmed from. On my own research, and if you Google it, you will get the same thing. An attached garage is not an accessory building. I read through all the information we were given from the minutes from the planning meeting and from there's a concerned resident apparently. I have read through everything, and it appeared, and it was a close vote, 3-2, am I not correct? And then some of the comments that were made on your members were the fact that they were hung up on the fact of the garage. Is it an accessory building? Is it not an accessory building? So that's where this came from, and I would still like to see this resolution on the agenda at some time tonight to go back to the planning commission, so we maybe can get our zoning ordinance updated the way it's supposed to be.
My understanding though is that there will be an extensive effort to go through the zoning ordinance at some time in the near future, because I believe we approved some grant funding for that. So it could be potentially added to the list then, or are you saying you want it?
Well, we
recommended
could,
now?
but we have this issue in front of us, which I think and I don't know how long it takes. How long does it take for something like this to start and end?
So the resolution would authorize or direct the planning commission to work with me and Michelle to come up with a proposed amendment. That would have to go to a public hearing before the planning commission, and then the planning commission would have to make a recommendation to you all, and then you could take it up once that's done and vote on it.
So what are you looking at? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
At least, I'd say 60 to 90. at the
60 to
earliest,
90.
yeah. Mhm.
Anyway, to do this. Okay.
Anything else, Karen?
Yes. So, I believe I'm scrolling through here, because I believe we got a letter from the city attorney, and your understanding of the ordinance as the way it is written now, is that what?
Yeah, so the ordinance now prohibits, and Michelle can correct me if I misstep in any of this, prohibits, in the R1, you can't have a home occupation in an accessory building. The definition of accessory building as drafted or as included in the zoning ordinance would include an attached garage, unless that attached garage was also a living space. And so if it's just a normal attached garage that's not also a living space, it would be an accessory building under your definition in the zoning ordinance, which would then prohibit a home occupation in that accessory building. And that's what the planning commission determined is why this particular application was not in compliance with the ordinance, and that's why I believe they voted the way they did to recommend denial.
The only thing that,
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
the only thing that makes this space a garage is the garage door, right?
Well, I haven't seen this particular garage, but I'm assuming it's a typical garage, which is just a, concrete base and, where you put your cars and store your lawnmower and whatnot. Which, under the definition, again, unless it's a living space and it's, a place where you could, I think it has to do with flooring requirements and the garage door requirement has to be closed off, something like that, to make it living.
There would be building code requirements.
Yeah, and so unless it meets those, it technically is an accessory building and therefore can't house a home occupation.
According to our current
According to your
zoning
current zoning ordinance, correct. Even though, I think you're correct, Commissioner James, that insurance-wise, and if you look at other sources, they're gonna see that an accessory building wouldn't include an attached garage under the current zoning ordinance as drafted it is.
Other commissioners?
So, the way the ordinance is written, after watching the planning commission meetings, so the way the ordinance is written and has been written is confusing to those that need to use it in these situations. So we find ourselves talking through it and researching.
Right, I would say that the definition of accessory building is a little bit ambiguous and confusing the way it's drafted.
However, the elephant in the room is a business with barking dogs in a neighborhood is, I'm sure, what the citizens are concerned about. And if you can't look at the big picture and you have to follow the little minutia in the ordinance, then the ordinance should be changed, because what if they wanna have a brass band practicing rock music? And you close off the garage door, make it a room, and then the neighbors all have to listen to the rock music blaring, or the dogs barking. In other words, the neighborhood has no rights to determine whether something's a nuisance or not?
No, there's a separate nuisance ordinance, and I believe there's a noise ordinance as well. So if it violates one of those two things, then it could be looked at as a violation and cited as such. But this is just looking at the
I got that,
home
I got it.
occupation, special land use, and what are the standards.
I think you gotta, there's more to it than whether the garage is a living space or not.
Well, I mean, just, this is looking
I
at the
know
whole
the
standard.
people who live right next door, their house is almost touching the garage.
Yeah.
And so, if you put 20 dogs through there barking their heads off, I wouldn't be too tickled with living in there.
But I'm under the understanding by the information that we were given that the very most he has are 2 dogs, and that's only if it comes from one family. Is the
I
person
can't
who's
control
doing
that, you
this
can't control that.
here? Okay. Yes, you
Just
can.
one sec till we're done.
Yes, you can control it in an in-home office. You follow the rules. And if he's telling us that he's doing 1 or 2 dogs in the most 2 if it's from the same family, then he's following the rules.
I didn't see how many dogs you could have in
But you
there
said
as
they
a
were
rule.
barking dogs.
That's what dogs do.
Yes, Mayor, but, I have a dog and he barks at you when you come to my house. But that doesn't necessarily mean when they go to their spa day, which is what we say to our dog, and he gets all excited because he knows exactly where he's going. He's going to get groomed and play with other dogs. In his case, he goes to a bigger place, but,
All right, that's enough.
okay. We'll see.
I I would also like to say, I would like to see this secondary resolution discussed and potentially voted on tonight as well.
Other commissioner remarks before we open to the public? First off, hearing from the business owner and the people who live next door that almost touched the building. That's what I think we should hear from first, but you only have 3 minutes. And identify yourself and we'll go from there. Please.
I'm Seth. I live at 507 Winter Ave. I'm the one that applied for the permit.
Could you go there and use the machine? And talk slow, Seth. I can tell you're fast.
Two of the problems that they stated in the prior meeting with the it being an extended garage and it being over the 25%, I actually did take steps with the city to classify the garage as no longer a garage and to be a living space. I've insulated the door. I've replaced the floor, so it's not concrete floor anymore. It's one of those click-together wood floors. It's insulated. It's heated as well. And then the secondary problem with over the 25%, I actually still have personal stuff in there. So I've got like washer, dryer, tools, things like that, which the lady on the commission before said that would take down on the square footage, which I was a couple percentage over. I think I was like 27 or something like that. It was just over. And then the secondary problem with my neighbors there was that they had two issues. One was that I might start a kennel business. I have no plans of doing that. I have dogs of my own. That's already too much noise. I'll even sign something saying that I wouldn't do that if you guys need. And the second problem was they were worried about property value. The business was never meant to be permanent. It was just meant to give me time to build a clientele that would allow me to afford a space and still provide for my family. And so it was never meant to be more than a couple years. And like, if that's something you could do too, where the permit's only for a couple years. So, after a couple years it goes away, you guys reevaluate the space and like where it is with, possibly lowering the property value and things like that. But, and the permit that I applied for to get the city to classify it as a living space isn't quite gone through yet. We are in the immediate process of it, so it hasn't gone through yet. We were hoping to get it today, just didn't work out. So the possibility of, rolling it back and then, I've got the approval then because it's not kind of solved, but I've tried to,
What do you plan on doing there?
What do you mean by that?
What do you plan on doing there?
Just grooming dogs.
How many dogs in a day?
The most I've had in a single day is 5, and that's 5 customers. I mean, the couple people have come in with 1 or 2 dogs, but it's only one-on-one dog grooming, so I can't have 2 families' households in there at all in the first place. It's not enough. It's too dangerous. There's a lot of liability with that, with dogs attacking each other and whatnot. I only have so much space, so I only do one-on-one dog grooming. So there's only ever 2, possibly 3 dogs at the most. I do my best to keep things really quiet. Our neighbor does have dogs as well, so there's already dogs barking in the neighborhood in their own yard, And we have several neighbors around us that also already have dogs, so dogs barking in the neighborhood isn't really a problem. We already have dogs barking in the neighborhood. But I've tried to do my best as I can, keep the peace. Hopefully, it'll work out. We can come to some kind of conclusion.
Good, thank you. Question?
There, I have a
Please.
question.
Yeah.
Too.
How many pets do you own?
I have 4. I have 4 dogs.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up question and then a statement if that's acceptable. How do you separate your pets from your dogs that you bring in?
I have a basement that's separated from my main floor, and I have a room down there that's specifically where I kennel my dogs at when I have dogs in the building. And that way we have like multiple layers of separation from anything ever happening. Because again, there's a lot of liability with that. And I just don't want anyone's dog to get hurt. I don't want my own dogs to get hurt. There's just a lot that goes with that.
And you just want to be a responsible business owner.
Yeah, I don't want to step on any shoes. I don't want anybody to get hurt or anything like that. I'm just trying to do what I can, and that's why, as soon as I found out that I needed to apply for this, I paid the fee. I applied. I'm trying to go through all the steps that I can with all the rules that are in place. Just trying to do what I can.
I think this is a perfect example of some of the things that were discussed at the convention I recently attended, of making sure that the city has resources readily available to the citizens to know how to start a business, what rules you need to follow. And I think that here we have a young person who's willing to not only get out and work, but actually go through the process of trying to start a business in our community when we hear of big corporations shutting their doors or laying off. And thank you for going through the process and being willing to put the work in.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make one
Yes,
more
ma'am.
comment too. The business that he is working on is a business that's very needed in this community. People that have dogs that have to be groomed, a lot of times you have to book a year out. There's a lot more, I mean, we have a Bernedoodle, they're hyperallergenic dogs, they don't shed, they have to be groomed. And there's a lot more of those dogs in the community than probably 10 years ago, I don't know. But it is a business that we need more dog grooming businesses actually in Big Rapids.
My mentor is actually also, like you said, booked out a year in advance. She can't even take on new
And
clients.
she's on the corner, she the one in the RP?
Yeah, right by the courthouse, yeah.
RP.
I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please.
All right, Lisa Moore, 602 Oak Street. Was everyone able to receive the packet my husband dropped off? There's a couple of figures in there I want to refer to. Obviously, the ordinance is something that I know you're going to go over and probably help us understand it better. So one thing I want to ask, under the ordinance, the way it stands now, can you operate a commercial dog grooming business in the city ordinance in an R1 zone? Can you do that? A commercial dog grooming business as it says?
Mayor, if you want me to address the question.
Really aren't supposed to answer questions from, yes,
Oh.
but go ahead.
Okay.
We'll let Brad answer that.
So, under the current ordinance as it is, you can have a home occupation, which would include something like a dog grooming business in your home, as long as you comply with all of the standards listed for home occupations in the R1, and there are 9 of them, I believe. One of which says you cannot have one in an accessory building, and that's the one that's really at play here, because the ordinance defines that attached garage as an accessory building. So that's the holdup in this case. But to answer your question, yes, you can have a dog grooming home occupation, not a commercial enterprise, but a home occupation in your home, if you comply with all of those standards.
Okay. All right, so the ordinance is 3.43. All right, it says that you can only keep up to 3 household dogs or pets. All right, he self-reported he has 4 dogs. And anytime he has a dog in or he's grooming, he's already exceeded, because he has 4 dogs, you only have 3 pets in the neighborhood. 1, and if you got grooming more dogs and you've even exceeded that 3 dog max that you can have to have a dog in your home in the neighborhood in the R1 zone. Furthermore, in the state of Michigan, and the attorney would know better than me, if you have 4 dogs or more, you're supposed to have a Michigan kennel license. Or it might be 3 more dogs for the state of Michigan. It's 3 or 4 dogs, you have to have a kennel license if you have 3 or more dogs in the state of Michigan. Under the ordinance 3.41, it says no building or premises shall be used, or no building shall be here erected or altered. So when they first moved in, the first thing they said to us that they were going to start doing a dog grooming business for Mr. Gibson Argue to be able to work out of his home from day one. So we watched it transform into a dog grooming business for 7 or 8 months. We also understand that Lauren Edwards, she's the owner of the home, but Mr. Gibson Argue is not an owner of the home. So that's kind of confusing too when you look at the R1 zone ordinance, because if you allow someone to write a letter to say that, hey, someone is living in my home, I own the home, but they're not an owner of the home, they can open any business they want, but they're not an owner of the home, but they live in the home. So it also says under 11.110, no such home occupation shall require interior or exterior alterations or use of mechanical equipment not customary for housekeeping. I know he has like a mechanical dog table or something that he grooms with, is my understanding. Maybe Michelle will have more information about that because we've never been in there. And that was, I want to refer back to altered figure 1 in your package. And in figure 2, the mechanical permit was pulled for that. So when we started seeing changes in the garage, a lot of these things were not permitted. So we called and reported them. We had to have a fence in our backyard, and we had to pay for it to be permitted to build a fence in our backyard. And we had a pipe sticking out of the garage. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know if it was a wood-burning stove or whatever, and our home is very close to their home. So then we found it wasn't permitted after it had already been put in. They had to go back and get a permit for it. I also like to add, if there's a case of emergency, if such a fire, I mean, does Mr. Gibson argue have some type of emergency escape plan for the dogs he's going to be grooming there, or people that he might have working for him? Is it clearly marked? Is it within the scope of the city fire code? I want to ask this for the residents that live in R1 zone. When did the ordinance get changed so that a business could operate in R1 zone? We would like to know that. Why would 25% of ground floor ordinance be for a business be allowed in R1 zone? And moving forward, can we possibly, in any of the neighborhoods, all in Big Rapids, if we're going to start changing these ordinances, could we not have the people who live there be allowed to vote on some of the changes to help us keep our residential neighborhoods the way we want to? We moved in there 4 years ago, and this is how we want to stay in a residential neighborhood. We don't want a dog-run business next door to us. And it's my understanding in the ordinance, once you attach a business to a home in an R1 zone, it stays there. Like down the street, we have that adult daycare that everyone is aware of, and obviously it's standing there and it can't sell because the rooms have been cut up so much, and it's just that there's no way it's going to move off the market the way it sits now, but it's going to be forever attached as an adult daycare to that one home in a residential neighborhood. I just want to add that he's still grooming dogs every day, even when he got denied the planning committee. Called Michelle, and I told her he was still grooming dogs, and then we need to start calling the police on him. So she said she called him and said he was grooming free. So whether you're grooming free or taking money, you're still rendering a service from your home. And I don't think that should be allowed. I'm just finally asking the board, please do not allow this dog grooming business next door to our home. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Others,
I'd like,
please.
My name's Luella King, and I just want to state, I take my two labs and my lab and my Australian Shepherd to Seth. I have a bad shoulder. I can't lift them. He's not charging me anything because he's my son's best friend. Can I not do that? I know I'm not supposed to ask you a question, but he's still going to wash my dogs. If you're not going to let him do it at his house, he's going to do it at my son's house, and he's in town too.
Thank you. Others? Please, yes.
You want me to go up there, or you can hear me?
Yeah, you probably should. Then it records better.
which one do you want?
Well, I can see that, there's a lot of confusion going on here, it sounds like to me. First of all, in the zoning in R1, there's three things already said it's a commercial business. It's not allowed. And we talked about the household thing, so it seems like confusion there. This one here just amazes me that, can't do on any alterations. Well, he just self-reported that he changed his whole garage up after he was denied. And that he has 4 dogs, 2 cats. So now we're talking 10 animals at a time, maybe more. This can't be allowed. This ordinance needs to be changed. We shouldn't be fighting this. We bought our house, we moved here, she loved the home. I bought it. And then I'm in control of finding out what the city ordinance is. I was a railroader. I lived in about 6, 7 different homes. So I will follow the HOA rules, everything like this. This should not be allowed. And I know we're talking with the city attorney, and I'm hoping I get some chance to talk to him about this. But this is not gonna end, and a lot of barking dogs, and he's already over the limit, so there's another ordinance that he's failed to hold. If he has 5 animals right off the bat, he already broke another one. So now we're up to 3 that are broken. So, you know, it'd be great to have a dog groom business, stuff like that. There's a lot of lease places around Big Rapids here that he can just lease out. I guarantee he's probably really good at his job. But why do we have to suffer? Someone moved in 11 months ago. I bought a home so I can retire, my wife and I, and now I'm reconsidering. This should not be allowed. And yeah, I know y'all want grooming business, it sounds great, but you're not the one that needs to suffer. I do. My wife does. So I'd like to thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. Others? I think Jerry, you had a hand up early on.
She's the homeowner, I let her.
Oh, okay, please.
Hi, my name's Lauren Edwards. I'm the homeowner of 507 Winter Avenue. Seth is my boyfriend. We live together. He does the dog grooming out of the garage. As far as the alterations made to the garage, those don't pertain to his business. We installed water lines. You can put a sink in there if you want to do a workshop, whatever. As far as the flooring, it just makes it more of a livable space if we wanted to do something besides use it as a garage. We don't park our car in there. We don't use it as a garage for parking our car. We have a heated garage now. That has nothing to do with altering it for a business. We have a heated garage. It makes it much more enjoyable if we want to. It's a big open space if we want to take our dogs out there in the future, anything like that. It's not alterations made for the business. It's alterations made for my home. I don't think it should be considered alterations for the business personally, because all it did was improve the value of my home. That's all.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry Bowman, 302 South Stewart. I was the one to help Seth get going. We trained him, or my wife trained him. I trained him a little bit, but she did 99% of it to get him going. And we were in R2. I thought he was in R2. I started the whole process of helping him do his, to turn it into a living space, basically. We went, when the board told us to make it a living space, that was the big hang up. We went to the county, to the city, did all the paperwork. We would have probably had it done, but elections caused a delay, and then today caused a delay. They might have the paperwork that the county approved and ready to go, that says it's a living space. The inspection's been done. And I'm trying to think, there was she brought up something about alterations. Oh, interior alterations. Only interior alteration that we did was put flooring in, which is what the county said we had to do to make it a living space. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Others? Commissioners, anything?
I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. The R1 does allow businesses.
The
Can you
R1,
say that one more time, please?
yeah, the R1 allows, so there's permitted uses and then there's special land uses. In the R1, you have single-family dwellings, you have a few other permitted uses, and then you have a list of special land uses. One of those special land uses is home occupations, as long as it complies with the ordinance.
Thank you. And then you get the special land use permit, it doesn't stay with the property, correct, or does it?
Typically, and I haven't done a dive as to, and maybe Michelle knows the answer, typically they do run with the land if you get a special land use, as long as you're in compliance with the provisions of the special land use permit.
Is that the same as the in-home office? Now I'm confused.
Yeah, with a home occupation, any special land use, if you get a
Whoever
special
buys
land
your
use
home can
permit.
use it as an office. It goes with your home.
But it shouldn't,
Specifically,
but it's
same
mine.
It's the same use.
Doesn't have to be yours, could be another owner.
Oh, so what you're saying, if we, well, we're not going to, we're gonna die there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so
It would have,
if, what you're saying is if we sold the house and I have that, then somebody could come in and
Yes.
start an in-home
Because you
office.
have it.
it would have to be the exact same use, they couldn't expand it, they couldn't do anything different.
It would have to be the same exact use I have?
Correct.
Gotcha.
An office.
That's, no, same use, not just an office, what I do, correct?
Well, it'd have to be the same exact use, so if you're using it as an office, that's the use.
Oh, you're talking, okay, not what I'm producing in the office.
Correct.
It just has to be used as an in-home office, gotcha.
Correct, yeah.
So I have a question then, Brad. Is there a way where a special use could be written with an expiration pending review after a period of time? To where that wouldn't be grandfathered in on the sale of the property in the future?
I suppose you could put a condition in the special land use permit.
Yep.
So you could put a condition that it, only lasts for so long, or it has to come back for renewal after so long.
Has to be renewed on this period basis for new, all factors to be considered at these intervals, considering it seems like, the potential business owner is waiting on some approvals that may change if this is even an issue.
Yes, yeah, I mean, you still have the accessory building issue that we talked about,
Okay.
but yeah, I think you could put a condition
Yep.
on it today.
And then, no, that other question was answered. Thank you.
I have one. Do you have what's called a service door in your garage area?
What do you mean by that?
A normal door you walk in and out?
Yep.
I call it a service door. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but, okay, thanks.
Is there a motion for a resolution to deny a special land use permit for home occupation of a dog grooming business? In other words, a yes vote means can't do it, a no vote means you can. Is there a motion? That's how it's written. No motion?
Well,
I just, it's a little confusing because steps have been taking towards another towards another avenue. That's where I'm confused.
So,
This
I can help
converting
clarify
it
that.
to that's where I'm confused right now.
So the planning commission recommended denial of the special land use permit for a series of reasons that you've been provided. So the question before the commission in this resolution is, do you accept or reject that recommendation? And so this resolution would be to accept that recommendation, if you, the resolution you have before you. And then the next question would be if you want to entertain a resolution like the one we prepared that would send it back to the planning commission to review the zoning ordinance and recommend changes to the zoning ordinance.
I thought the only area they were concerned with was the accessory structure. Were there other things? When I read that, I thought it said,
The main concern of the planning commission, I would say, was the definition of accessory structure and how that fit. There was some discussion about the percentage of land or use of the building, and we're looking for more clarification on how that would broken down.
okay. All right.
I'm gonna deviate for a minute. There are other residents of that area who haven't spoken. Would they like to? Anyone? Okay. Hearing.
I'll make a motion.
You're moving.
Somebody's got to
But
do
it
it.
needs to come to.
Is there a second?
It needs
Is
to
there a
come
second?
before us. Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to deny a special land use permit. A yes vote says that. Further questions?
I have a statement to make. I was on the planning commission. I know the work that's gone into this, to their review. It's always tough to, be in this seat and, not take into fact the work that the planning commission does. And so I just wanna say that my vote doesn't negate all of the work that the planning commission does, and certainly isn't representative of how I would, this is a unique situation. That's what I want to say.
It's a good statement.
Others?
Unique situation.
Others? Hearing none. A yes vote means denial of the business. A no vote means it could go ahead. Got it?
Got it.
Karen?
Johnson.
No.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Simmon.
Yes.
Gunther.
Yes.
James.
No.
So the motion carries. As of right now, there will be no dog grooming business there. Next, I'm gonna continue on the agenda. I don't like having ordinances put in front of me the moment of the meeting. I never have. It doesn't give me any time to read or study or think. But if this whole group wants to act on that amendment to the zoning thing, I'll entertain that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion
I don't know what you're motioning.
to entertain the resolution.
We would,
Are you
basically,
motioning
as
to
I read
approve the
this,
resolution?
I'm motioning to entertain the resolution.
Entertain.
I am a second person on this commission who would like to vote on that resolution tonight. That is what I'm stating.
so it is before us
It
as
can
a
be before us without a
resolution.
resolution, just talk about it.
Okay,
If that's what you wanna do, is that the whole group?
It's just a resolution asking the city attorney and the planning commission to review a section of the ordinance. Am I not correct?
That's correct.
For clarity, is it possible if somebody can just read it out so the public knows why, like, what we're trying to talk about right now, since it was given to us just today?
I'm happy to if you'd like me to.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. It says resolution initiating text amendment to city zoning ordinance. Whereas pursuant to section 14.2-2 of the City of Big Rapids zoning ordinance, the city commission may initiate proposed text amendments to the zoning ordinance. And whereas it has come to the city commission's attention that in its current form, the zoning ordinance prohibits home occupations and attached garages to single-family dwellings because the ordinance defines accessory building to include attached garages. And whereas the city commission believes it is in the best interest of the city to allow residents to obtain a special land use permit for a home occupation in their attached garage if otherwise in compliance with the applicable special land use standards. Now therefore be it resolved that the city commission directs the Big Rapids Planning Commission in conjunction with the city's Community Development Department and the city attorney to review this matter and take the necessary steps to recommend a text amendment to the zoning ordinance which would allow residents to utilize attached garages for home occupations under certain circumstances.
But that resolution, and in light of that resolution, you're declaring, if you vote, you're not voting just to send it to planning, you're voting that you're in favor of, the whole process here. It's not.
You're directing that the planning commission and the city attorney and the community development department work to create a text amendment which would allow for home-based businesses and accessory dwellings.
But that text amendment would have to come back and then be voted on by the city commission.
Correct. It would have to go to a public hearing before the planning
Right.
commission.
We're voting on the consideration.
Right.
Was there a motion, David?
No.
Is there a
Yes,
motion?
I made a motion.
And then a second.
And I will second.
Second
It was
it.
already done.
Further comment?
so knowing that we're going to go through a very extensive review of the zoning ordinance, I would much rather address this as part of that effort so that it could be looked at holistically with everything else. So while I'm in favor of having the planning commission investigate this and work on it, I'm reluctant to provide them with direction to do so and to make a change to make a text amendment. And that is because I know that there's this effort moving forward. It's confusing. It needs to be addressed. I would much rather see it handled as part of the big process.
So, can I ask Michelle, when can we expect to have what Commissioner Simmons has
She's
come,
talking about.
come before us?
A draft of the zoning with, I would say, 6 months at your earliest, more likely 9.
And then would it be harmful to the commission to have this insight that we would specifically and particularly like these things considered
I mean, it's
in that process? Knowing that you're gonna be thorough, but saying, due to present circumstances being what they are, due to this coming before our commission, please consider this when presenting us with the next document. So even if it's gonna be 6 months from now, what harm is there to say, we really do want you to make sure that this is notated in 6 months when we get it back to us?
Yeah, I mean, there's no necessary harm in asking them to look at it. I will say that there are hundreds of nuances in zoning ordinances, just like this one, that come to light when you have an issue in front of you. So the planning commission's gonna have to wrestle with how closely to investigate all of those kind of nuances, because it's like any kind of rule that you write, it has an impact in ways that you don't necessarily think that there's an impact.
The ripple effect.
Jerry,
I just have a question. So like, we got it converted to living space, we're just waiting for the county's approval, come tomorrow. Can we get a time, like, it'll be within the current statute tomorrow when he gets the paper from the county. So, can we get, either now it looks like we have to go back to the planning committee, showing that we've got everything done. In the meantime, can we get a temporary delay and allow him to continue and try to get clients so that he can build his business and then move into a regular place a little bit sooner? Like, just until we get, it's gonna take us to go to the planning commission, that'll probably be 2 weeks, and then back here, 2 to 4 weeks. For him not to work for 6 weeks, when it's probably gonna get approved because he's now within compliance, it'd be nice if he could just keep working with clients until then.
All this confusion, I mean, seriously, why isn't the ordinance to say continuous foot traffic in and out of a home where goods and services are sold and you're making a profit? You have constant traffic coming in and out. Now, granted, people have homes that have offices in them. They work out of their house. Understand that. It's very common. Now, if this happened 2 years ago, what would happen 2 years ago? COVID. So did we change these rules due to COVID? And we did not change them back? I don't know if it's, Michelle, has it been 2 years, 3 years?
I'm gonna call the question.
Well,
We're beating this to death. It's whether we want to.
It's not relevant.
Right.
It's not relevant.
Call the question, please. Call the question on the resolution.
To direct
Yes,
the
resolution initiating tax amendment to the city zone ordinance. That is the resolution you would like to call. Yes.
Rhodes.
No.
Simmon.
No.
Gunther.
No.
James.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
3 to 2 is no. That's it on that issue. We're moving to the work session on pool discussion.
Are we gonna do unscheduled business before that or after that, Mayor?
Let's do it after.
Okay.
Who's here for the unscheduled, or for the pool session? Are you here for, are you here for that, Bob?
And are we moving down to those tables?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're gonna need those cleared.
Oh.
Do you wanna call it a 5-minute break, Mayor?
No. Just move over there.
Well, you didn't end it. 5 minutes, okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, Lauren. No, I thought we said we weren't doing that anymore.
Whether they're a resident or.
Yeah, they just have to say whether they're a resident of the city.
Well, they give their.
It's been a long day, Megan.
Give their address.
I can tell.
Yeah, feel free to put gavel.
Well, it's not this, I had this added to the meeting because he went to Mark and said, we have to hustle if we want to get it free. You have to have a kennel permit. And I said, what? I mean, we had a kennel permit. I talked about the pool. Well, then you kinda got it wrong.
You're not allowed.
Call back to order.
Yeah, we can.
No, to the lobby, please.
Still in session.
You're welcome to stay and listen.
So, who's gonna start out talking about the you?
All right, Michelle starting.
I can. So, there's a grant opportunity available. It's the RAP 3.0, which RAP 2.0 is how we're funding part of the depot project on, and the RAP 3.0 is available now and it's due January 30th. It's a $1 million grant with the city contributing $500,000. It's a 50% match. So the question is we know that Marsite is an issue at the pool. We know that there's some ADA issues at the pool, in the pool house for customers to use. And so the question is do we just work on those issues with our budget? Or do we expand the project possibly with this grant opportunity, look at expanding the project with this grant opportunity? And what does that look like for our community, and what is the commission's interest in it?
How much is the grant, Michelle?
It's $1 million grant with a 50% match, so that means it's a $500,000 grant, and then we have to match it with $500,000.
Does the master plan say anything about the specifically?
Park and Rec plan.
Park and Rec master plan does.
And when was that done?
It's due to be revamped, I think, in the next couple of years.
26, I think it runs through.
Do we have $1 million worth of work over there?
So Marsite, we think is about, we got a quote for around 230,000 just to do the Marsite alone.
Entire pool?
And
Okay.
that was the quote from last year.
That's not for the entire.
That's not the entire.
Oh, that's not the entire?
That's the deep end.
The deep end.
That was
Deep
just the
end,
deep
because it was just recently that the shallow end was done during the COVID year. There's some patchwork to be done in the shallow end, but the overall remar site is for the deep end.
And that's 230 a year ago, so probably more than that now. Be our guess.
Fair enough, yeah.
Given that every time we've done Marsite, it ends up, they find more stuff than they've thought initially. So 230s, I'm guessing, on the low end.
So is it up to $1 million, or do you have to say $1 million and we're gonna find a way to spend $1 million and?
The minimum application is 500,000.
Right.
And you have to match it dollar for dollar.
Oh, can it be anywhere between the 500,000 and the million?
Right, I think Michelle said $1 million just because if we apply for 500,000, then we have to match. So it would be $1 million project, not $1 million grant. It'd be $500,000.
By the time, like, didn't we have plans in front of us a couple of meetings ago to put in like 2 family restrooms, create an exit out, redo the showers? Like, cause I've been thinking about that, like, we might as well just do it right. Bathrooms need to be updated. I think there's potential for it to be used as a space off-season. That was an idea that Commissioner Johnson brought up.
Potentially making it where it can be utilized year-round, with the heating and other things needed for it. And then also be a community gathering space or warming center in the winter if there's a severe extreme weather event and we need to have additional space for that.
And this is not for the pool to be used
But the
year-round.
structure itself
It's for
that
the
is-
structure. I mean,
Yep.
so, you know, if we're gonna invest money into it, I would rather see us do the entire facility, or as much of it as we can, and not keep like old stalls, old lockers, like, I don't know that we need 50 lockers.
Return it to the shining gem that it was.
Or, I think it has a lot of potential underneath the water. Mayor.
What scared me off and decided to have this conversation is that I think that the city's gotta start watching a little bit. We're tending to accept lots of grants that have lots of money that we have to spend out of our pocket. It's wonderful, you get a $500,000 grant for the depot, but you gotta come up with $500,000 of citizens' money to pay for the rest of it. Now they're talking the same thing for the pool, so I got nervous. I thought, we haven't even studied this, we haven't even,
We don't even know how much the
Right.
repairs are.
right, so it's like she has to have it by, what do you say, Megan, January?
Yeah, I think
January 20th.
Yeah, so by January 20th, we have to have this all worked out, and I personally didn't like the drawings that came in last time at
No.
all, and they were not what I thought we were thinking about. I don't know who hired them to do that,
Does anybody have any firm handle on the dollar amount?
especially if you're gonna winterize it.
I mean, Todd's studied this, and that's why he's here. I mean, we have some ballpark numbers, and Todd, maybe you wanna talk about it some, of what you found?
Yeah, we had the, I believe the plan you were talking about,
ADA improvements, that was estimated when that came in at about $225,000. I'm not sure that everything you talked about is incorporated
It's
in
not.
that plan.
No.
And then we mentioned the pool lining and some tile work, I believe. Saying around 230 was the quote there, so really with those two things, you're at the 500,000. Then
That's total cost.
Correct.
that is.
So we'd only have to apply for we'd only have to come up with $250,000, half of the 500.
No, you can't.
The
You
grant
don't.
is 500.
You can't do it that way?
You don't get the free money.
I don't think we're ready to spend $1 million. We don't have enough knowledge.
But if you're gonna spend the 500,000 to do the EA and the Mars site,
gives you an
this is an opportunity to go to $1 million and get some other.
Can't winterize that big building for 500,000.
We were estimating 250,000 on half the building.
Yeah.
The issue with it is it's a block building. How do you insulate a block building? We would do some sort of insulating panel on the outside. Really fill in the cores is available. Go to the inside with furring it out, you're losing space.
Maybe winterization or converting it into a all-year facility doesn't make the most fiscal sense, cause we're not gonna be generating revenue in those months. So what's the age of the roof on?
We need to find out. Sure, I don't know that off the top of my
I
head.
mean, let's say the
Yeah.
roof is $100,000 right there, that's over. Just because it's between 500 and 1 million doesn't mean we ask for 1 million, right?
You have, minimum grant's 500,000. You have to match it dollar for dollar. So you can't apply for
I thought it was
anything that's
50.
less than $1 million project.
Alright.
Okay, so that's a done deal.
That's the
Right, okay.
specifications of the
Of that
grant.
grant.
Yes.
I
No,
would
it's
like,
a 100% match, sorry, Commissioner, for interrupting.
so we have approximately $500,000 worth of renovations that we could flush out. To justify, we could spend $500,000 of our own money or go for this grant. You're estimating roughly of the roughest of estimates because it hasn't been officially requested of you. That potentially $250,000 is what it would take to do half of the winterization for that building. Meaning
Still be another.
there'd be another $250,000 left if we did half. Would it even potentially be feasible to do half of the structure at one time? Like have a winterized portion of the structure and then leave the other portion, say for the one that would be least needed to be winterized, unwinterized?
According to the floor plan, the way it's broken out right now, you could have a community space with a couple of bathrooms. And you could isolate that area from the changing rooms and the bathrooms that apply more to the pool. And split it that way.
Potentially, if directed, this could fall within budget of 1 million.
It's a dollar for dollar.
Right. So if
So
we're
if-
getting $500,000 from the grant and then we're providing the other $500,000, potentially we could come out the end with a partially winterized community space for year-round usage and the renovations that are needed for the pool, making it a more valuable space for the community, meaning it's not necessarily wasted tax dollars.
The other thing I would just mention too is that there's also the project at Cliffs happening there, and so there's that space, the connecting space there, so maybe there's some
Tie in there for.
tie in there.
We apply.
Throw that out there, but.
So with this, if we were to apply for this for the pool, is it only for usage of the pool or could it be a broader scope project for that? Because Clay Cliffs is right next to the pool.
I mean, I think you could make external improvements to like the pool building, and because there's the pavilion there, and it wouldn't necessarily be the Clay Cliffs project, but being that all of that is right there, the users of Clay Cliffs would still benefit from the improvements to the area.
I guess is there a legal way we could word that so it incorporates and maximizes, like say we have $50,000 extra dollars, now we have to spend, could we then spend it to help develop the Clay Cliff since, would it?
No, it would just be that park space.
Just that park
between-
space, okay.
My concern is, add up all the grant matches the last 2 years, tremendous sum of money. I don't think Mark has never presented, or Carla presented to us a plan. All these grant comes up, we just say yes, and then 500,000 for the depot, a match for the splash pad, a match for the jungle gym, a match for the skate park. I mean, we never get the big picture and see how much this is all coming to. Maybe there's a year where we should not be spending all that money, you know? We've spent a lot of money
We
on
did
that
spend a lot
bathroom.
of money, but there is a plan. There's the Park and Rec Master Plan, and those items are listed inside that plan. This direction is to focus when those grant opportunities.
But we still have to come up with the money.
Oh,
Park
sure.
Commission doesn't come up with money. We come up with the 500,000.
But there's also a group effort, I think, that will come, and you will see somebody championing the opportunity to do a fundraising effort for them, given everything that's transpired recently. I mean, Tyler was here a couple meetings ago. He's interested in possibly doing something with his mouth, but I mean.
For Pat Horn.
Part of that.
To pay part of the 500,000.
Yeah.
Rosemary pay the other half.
All right, going up?
We know Rosemary pretty well. I just think we have to be careful about how much money we're matching all the time.
That is a valid point.
I have a question.
Tell me the total. Anybody know the total? I don't think,
Is
I
there a
don't have.
sheet in the audit?
Is there what?
A sheet in the audit of grants?
Yes.
I thought
So
there
that's
was.
coming. They've been here and gone.
Yeah, they'll be back next week just for a day to look at the grant stuff and get that statement together, so.
There should be a sheet in last year's audit, right?
If we reach that level.
The reason to do something should not be because there's a grant available. It should be because that's what this commission really, really thinks the citizens of Big Rapids would want us to do. That's the reason, not because there's a grant available.
I think they wanna
question.
see improvements, because we had the pool fees waived last summer, which was well received. I presume that's probably gonna be a discussion later when we start looking at the budget again. So if we're gonna have the facility be utilized at that capacity, pool, swimming lessons, everything else like that, we know that there's maintenance issues that need to be addressed. It's an opportunity, is the way that I see it.
So is the concern, I'm wondering what is the concern, from what I'm hearing from you, Mayor, I'm hearing your primary concerns are lack of community commitment to wanting this and the funds being available because of the grant opportunities we've been able to take advantage for, thankfully. So if we're gonna find a way to get the grant situation squared away where we have that knowledge, we have until the 20th of January before, Megan, you need a decision from us?
Well, that's when it would be.
That's when the
just to
grant
write
is.
it.
That's when it's due, so we would have to direct you this month essentially, correct? Okay. And potentially we could know how much in grant funding by our next meeting this month. And I don't see Steve. Oh, there you are, you're behind Mark. Is it possible we could put a survey out and reach out to our community members to see what the public interest is in having other utilizations in developing this pool? I mean, just from my standpoint, we've done this for Depot Park in that quarter, which needs to be revamped and revitalized. We've done this for Hemlock Park, which needed it, has beautiful renovations. Why stop now? Like, if there's not the money to back it, Carla will have those answers for us. But why choose which neighborhoods we're developing like this? If it's feasible,
Neighborhood.
you know?
What does that have to do with the neighborhood?
Well, why this project? Why this grant match?
I'll give you my.
This is
nerve
my
about
question.
it, Is we took the match to do Depot Park. We're gonna pay $500,000 to do approve it. I think if you took a vote of the people, that one might not even pass. The pool would pass in a minute.
Pool would pass in a minute.
Yeah, so that's what's eating at me.
We don't need
$500,000 cash on the depot park when we really should have saved it for the pool.
Mayor Warber wanted to shut it down. The people filled this room and out into, and I was one of them.
I'm with them.
And so it,
You're with him. You want him to close the pool?
No, I want him to keep the
Warber wanted to close the pool.
No, I want him to keep the pool.
Yeah, but he didn't want it.
$500,000 on the pool instead of the depot. It's just my own personal opinion.
So we don't need a survey that says
They want
we
it.
support the pool.
I'm just saying if it was a lack of community investment in that specific amenity to be able to raise funds like was done for Hemlock Park, we need that justification. If Megan needs to know close to immediately to be able to start the process, I mean, are we just gonna blanket slate say no because we've done this a lot lately? Or is it possible for us to maybe come before at this next meeting and have a decision for her so she can know, like gather resources?
What I need, and everybody else should need at the same time, is I wanna know what the fund balance is in the general fund
one of the
as of
things
June
I'm getting
30th, 2024. I want something simplified that shows me what the revenue and the expenses are in the general fund so that I can see an estimated fund balance for June 30th, 2025. That's gonna tell us what kind of money we might
Absolutely.
have
There you go.
or not.
The thing that, and I think maybe this is part of what the mayor's talking about, and, you know, it'd be great to get this grant, but I think the thing that kind of, let's just use a Hemlock Park. This is a good, Hemlock Park, they had they had donors and stuff that gave money towards the park, so they had money already set aside towards that, which made it easier for the city to go, hey, we'll be able to spend money because we've got X amount of money already set aside. Or in this case, the city's gotta foot the bill, and then, now if we had, unfortunately, we've got such a short timetable, but if we were able to say, hey, get some kind of fundraising going, saying, and if we knew people are gonna be able to donate, say, X amount, if we knew people are gonna donate $250,000 towards it, it'd make it easier, I think, for us as
There you go.
a city to accept this grant, because then we already have half the money already
That's how
taken
they
care
did
of.
the splash pad.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I'm correct, Todd, you were saying to do the ADA and to just do the deep end, it's almost 500,000 ballpark, right? Okay.
A lot of cash.
That you're just gonna spend at some point in time.
Right.
You might as well.
Something.
Oh, now that,
The
show us that you have it.
third thing with this,
This brings me back to, Carla, is it possible to get the figures that we've discussed by our next meeting?
Oh, yeah, I already have the fund balance figure.
Fantastic, so it would just be collating a document and having it presented to the commission. Like, are we debating if we even wanna venture into this before we know the numbers?
We need to know better from Todd what it really is gonna be. Sure. Because he's just guessing. Have you been there?
Yeah, but don't you always guess until you
So,
Minute
here's,
is-
Mayor,
Either way,
Mayor,
we
let
could
me
come
put
up.
my other hat on. Mayor, it's not gonna be hard to find $1 million worth of things to do at the pool.
Oh
Bring it
my
up
God,
to
no.
ADA
Oh,
compliance.
I'd say to go over.
So if we
Yeah,
can
but then we can.
support it, why wouldn't we?
Rosemary's got something.
Rosemary.
Let me understand something. This is $1 million grant, right?
No.
They call it $1 million grant,
Million.
but it's really a $500,000.
But we get $500,000 from the grant
If we,
If we spend.
if we spend 500. We are. We will end up getting $1 million. We have to pay 500,000.
we will end up
Half
getting,
of it.
we will end up getting $500,000 from the state, potentially, we might not get the grant.
Okay,
And,
okay,
and we would then have to find $500,000 in city
Okay.
funds or donated funds or those things.
okay, so if you're looking at Marsh siding, which is 230,000,
For part of the pool.
or part of that, you've already got 500,000 going there, where if you go with the grant, you've got an extra 500,000.
No,
Am I right?
Well, no, you are right, but I think the mayor's not wrong in worrying about a project like this, when we sit here and we plan on it being 1 million, and then when the day comes, it's 1.2. Or it's
We have to come up
1.3.
with the extra.
Yeah, I mean, that.
700,000.
That's
But now,
happened.
I will go along with him. You need figures.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
You always.
I don't think anybody here would say, oh, we don't wanna help the pool.
And
I
I
bet
feel
everyone of us would
sorry.
vote yes.
What's always bad, it seems like, is these things come up where we've got 30 days to
They always do it.
respond or
Crazy.
how the.
They always do it,
whatever
every
is,
single
which
time.
puts everybody in the spot, but don't forget that pool. You saw what happened this summer with those kids. It's kids. That pool is not just for kids. It's for
Shut it-
this
we'll
old
have to
lady,
shut it down for a whole
80-year-old
summer to do
lady,
the
if she
project.
wanted to go down there and jump in.
Yeah, our pool
It's
season's.
for your handicap, it's for everybody.
You can start August first when Mark closes it.
Honestly, yeah. I don't think
It's
we
only
can do that.
95 degrees, he closes the pool.
I want you going in the pool next year, cannonball.
Yes.
Can we do that?
How long would it take, Todd, how long would it take for us to get, for you guys to get numbers? Do you have a ballpark on how long it would take and how much it would cost for you to get numbers on a project scope that we've discussed tonight, like partial winterization and ADA compliancy and the Marsite?
Well, bathrooms that have doors to the outside so people can
Right.
use it in the winter.
Who's gonna
There's another
plow,
100,000.
who's gonna plow that parking lot for winter usage?
Mark?
I mean, we could have numbers in a couple of weeks.
Right, so.
The issue is defining,
Yes.
and that's the challenge.
That's what.
It's cold. We say,
Not my grant.
ADA improvement, but what is that really?
Skiing,
Here's a,
country skiing.
so I think we're all in support of supporting the pool.
Yep.
We're all in agreement that the pool needs work. We're gonna find out what the fund balance is. We're probably not gonna be able to know what the cost is to redo the pool because the scope of work is still a little bit undefined. I think what would help me for the next time we discuss this is maybe a list of recommendations from city staff for what they feel is the important investment. We might think, you gotta do this, and they might be like, no, don't do that, do this. I think that would be helpful for the next time we talk about this, and it doesn't, until we know that, and know their recommendations, we're kind of spinning our wheels
I
here.
think we've got it.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, so all of us could know where we're
Megan,
at.
how much time would you need to write a grant proposal, and then how soon, if you do write one, would we know after the 20th?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Because it's all a
I'd have to
hypothetical
look
even.
and see when I get the answer on the grant. I mean, a lot of the grant itself I could be writing now because it's,
Generic.
not generic, but like, why do we want the grant, and it's like, there's a reason for it. And I spoke with someone from the MEDC already about it, just to see if it was a feasible project, because it's a placemaking grant. And part of the things he said is, we're impacting populations that would normally have a lack of swim lessons, and it's Michigan, we're a water state, we're, impacting, future recreators in the state. And it's making, people spending dollars on water recreation, so it's a good project, he thinks it's good, but, so, I mean, I don't know how long, I could get most of it ready, and then I just need like numbers to plug in, I think, for the most part.
Specifics.
Yeah.
So we have time then to potentially
Yeah,
consider
yeah.
all of the options that everybody has brought up and that are valid.
I did have a question, because I know we've talked about like other fundraising, like, there has been some interest in that though, right? Like some community fundraising.
Yeah, I think it's always an option. What would be helpful for me to know about this grant is, can the fundraising dollars be used to count?
Towards our match.
Right,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Hemlock
Then you
Park
don't
grant,
have-
which
They
I
should.
just remember there was a specific grant where that helped us out a
There's
lot.
certainly you could, but would the fundraising happen or be in place before January 30th? No.
And also, we just went to the public and got a huge sum of donations for the splash pad and the
Right,
and
and
you
it
gotta
would
be
be
careful how
us
often you go back to the public for another big gift.
Well, but it's gonna need a champion, it's
Yeah, it
gonna
wouldn't-
need
Oh,
that same
there's
type
if
of.
you do that.
Don't we have a line item already for donating to the pool?
We have a pool
Yeah.
fund.
Now we have-
Yeah, we certainly
Thought.
accept those, yeah. Mayor, I think we're good to be able to work more on this and bring it back maybe at the first meeting in December. That's kind of what I'm thinking. We have a bond issue thing for the wastewater plant next meeting, next Monday. We probably wouldn't be ready by then. Part of the problem is you don't wanna spend a bunch of money on engineering if you don't know you're gonna do the project, but we need more, sounds like.
It has to be.
And certainly, we can get the finance issues in place, and then we'll come back and have this again. Does that sound okay?
Okay, but before you adjourn, I'm gonna be the bad guy again.
You've been mean to me all night.
No, I have not been mean to you, but I should be. Okay. What I wanna say is, I thought we had this all figured out, and maybe the rest of the commission doesn't care. I do. I don't like somebody standing up from the back of the room and threatening me. That is the second time that has happened.
And what I didn't like, I don't know that you don't probably know me yet, but I like it when you sit in that corner right there.
Yeah, he happened to be over
You were
here.
over here. I always look for that in case somebody gets fussy. I always look to see if he's sitting there, and I couldn't find you.
Okay, but my
But
point
that threatening
is,
us is just,
I know, and we all do it, we sit there very well, we don't react, we do what I expect us to do, which I think is fine. But I thought we were in agreement that people that speak are supposed to go to that podium.
Everybody.
So we get them on camera. And you've got to be vigilant with that. You're the one that's supposed to come from.
I have no vigilance.
I don't. But anyway.
I know the guy, I know his name, so it doesn't matter if it's on camera.
Oh, yes, it
No,
does.
it does.
It does.
Because when you come to the open meeting, especially when we tout it being recorded, part of that is every word you're saying is being recorded for the posterity and for the public to understand where you're coming from, where we're coming from, and what was being happened. It's transparency. But I do have another thing to say. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all those service members who have served our country. I really appreciate everything you've done, and I have family members who have served, so.
Oh, no.
It's not bad.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
The flowers are gone, Rosemary.
Downtown for the Veterans Day parade today, and that was fantastic.
We missed the helicopter, but it was too windy.
It was really, very windy.
But that
Thank you.
That was super.
Those guys do it all themselves, those veterans who
Somebody
post
said
or,
there was an 88-year-old guy riding on one of those big.
Oh, goodness.
they do a great job.
What happened to the Humvee?
I got bumped. Was there there was something else somebody wanted to talk about?
I there was a veteran thing the whole time. That's why I was like, can I say it? Well, everybody's still here. But
Football game's starting right now.
You drive a big wheel.
yeah.